Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Thursday, December the 18th. We are a week away from Christmas, Cecil. Christmas, my friend.
Big fan.
Feeling merry this year, Cecil? How merry are you feeling, my guy? Yeah. Oh.
Man, it's been a year.
Super merry. It's been a year.
It's been a year, man.
Been a year.
Holy shit, dude.
You know, I know that
I feel like, you know, when they do the movies and they pan across after the battle's over, the big battle, and there's just a guy who's just like staring. And he isn't moving. He's just staring into space. I feel like that guy every day.
Dude, do you know, like, so funny you say that. Do you know what image keeps going through my mind? And I'm like, guys, just feel. Do you remember the movie Saving Private Ryan where the guy's walking around looking for his arm?
Oh,
picks up his arm. He's just like walking around the chaos.
Oh, I got it, guys.
Yeah. I feel
Here it was under this other guy.
Yeah. I'm like, that feels like my life now, right? Like, it feels like you're just walking around with your own arm in your hand, being like, I don't know where to put this. I'm not sure what to. Is it okay?
How can my right arm be in the last place I left it? That doesn't make any sense.
Hey, can you give me a hand?
I paid a arm and a leg.
The enemy disarmed me.
Dude, I feel so like shell-shocked by the whole thing. And it's the worst part is that at least there was like quasi reprieves in the first Trump administration where he might get pressure from people who sort of make him fall back a little. Yeah. In this one, it's just like, he just like doesn't care. He's been fucking our throats the entire year. And you're just like, no, man, this is really unpleasant. And he's like, whatever, dude. Having a great time.
Fucking your throat.
Yeah. I'm up here.
Well, here's the thing. We knew going in, because he said it, that like all the people he was going to put into positions of authority were going to be sycophants that wouldn't question him.
Sycophants that are also really gung-ho for all the things he wants to have happen. Because Trump, I don't think, really has a lot of positions as much as he has like sycophants who have delusions of grandeur who want to do major things.
Right. Yeah.
And so these people who come in like Stephen Miller or, you know, Pam Bondi or whoever, they have these ideas on what they want to do. I guess Bondi really feels more like a marching order person rather than a sort of orchestration
I think so
person.
too. I think she's
But I'm thinking like Noem. Like where, you know, like these people are like they get, maybe even Noem might be a marching orders person, but from someone else. I don't think it's as much Trump as it is these other people that surround him. The Heritage Foundation people.
I think that's who's driving.
You know, and then Stephen Miller and his ilk and those types of people and the billionaires that all have all their fingers in the government. Mm-hmm. They're all pulling a bunch of strings to make him do all the things that he's doing. I think that he's probably easy to calm down. I mean, you see, like, he like had a fucking pretty easygoing conversation with Mamdani.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like he's so stupidly manipulable it's so easy for these people to just tune him up and manipulate him that he's such a dullard that he doesn't realize he's being manipulated. I'm not calling him a good person here.
I know.
Don't mistake this as like it's not his fault. Of course it's his fault. He should be smart enough to know you can't handle that position. You know, you should at least be smart enough to know I'm too stupid to do this.
Hey, man, I am. If somebody was like, Tom, do you want to be president tomorrow? Well, actually, tomorrow I would say yes.
I'll tell you what, though, man, I wish I could do it. I wish I could be president for just like 6 months because I would fucking ruin the other side so badly. I would do the worst possible things just in hope that they would like curtail the power of the presidency.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, I think your take is right. I was thinking about this like with respect to George W. Bush, right? So George W. Bush was a genuinely stupid person who was a good figurehead for a bunch of like neocons, the Rumsfelds, the Scooter Libbies, the Dick Cheneys, and those guys were all driving. And they basically gave George W. Bush his marching orders. He just did whatever those guys said to do. I think it's a little bit different with Trump. I think what the deal is with Trump is he's got his pet issues that he hates on. And he's hated on these things for pretty much his whole life. So if you go back to like the way that he like his racist views around crime, they're documented back from the fucking 90s, 80s and 90s.
Yeah, man.
So everybody knows his soft spots and his push button issues. And I think what they've figured out is if they give him what he wants there, that he's more than happy to give everybody else what they want over here.
He's like a food motivated cat.
Hey, dude, that's perfect. I mean, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Where you're just like, if I throw the treats over here,
right,
he will go after the treats and root around in the area where I want him to get the treats.
So like the Project 2025 people, the billionaires that are the technocrats that are running the joint now, like all these people have figured out, like, one, just keep him happy, tell him good things about himself, like fluff him until he gets a semi.
Give him fucking gifts.
Yeah.
If they give him gifts, he literally, he rolls over and exposes his tiny little mushroom penis. Like that's what he does. He lays on his back. He lays on his back. He unfolds himself. And then he's like, paint me like one of your French girls or whatever. And they immediately, everybody's just like, yeah, man, here's your fake Nobel Peace Prize that we made up
for you.
That we literally made up. You're the first recipient of the fucking soccer Peace Prize. It's just like, and he's putting it on his face. He's got this like, oh, look at me, I'm the Peace Prize guy.
This is a totally real award.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It's a leg lamp.
It's a fucking Burger King crown, dude.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Are you kidding me? How in the world could anybody that you've ever seen in your life fall for something like that and think it's worth something?
I don't, but like,
it's not even worth like a fucking Time Life book. Yeah, like it's not even that.
He was bragging about Michigan Man of the Year. There isn't even a Michigan Man of the Year.
You're not wrong.
You know, like he was bragging about winning awards that literally don't exist anywhere.
You're not wrong.
But like when he's a guy, and I know these guys. I've worked with these. I work with these guys. I know so many people in the world that are like this. Like he's one of those guys that if he meets you in person, he wants to ingratiate himself to you. He wants you to like him. It's very, very, very important that you like him. So he'll spend his time finding common ground, being personable, trying to be charming, because the end goal for him is for you to walk away liking him. He is not trying to effectuate change. He is not trying to stake out a position. And you can see this with his dealings with Zelensky and Putin. If he meets with Putin, he walks away and he's like, Putin's got a lot of great points, had a great meeting. He just got catered to the whole time, right? And he feels like, oh, I had a great meeting, so I'm going to give Putin all this stuff. Then like the next day, he'll meet with Zelensky. But because he's a guy who doesn't stand on any real principles and instead is just working to be liked, now all of a sudden he's, oh, well, actually, you know, we're taking a hard line against Russia, guys. We're not going to. Every meeting he has, he just flops over to that meeting because he's constantly trying to be liked.
Yeah.
Because he's so fragile. He's so desperately fragile. And that makes him incredibly manipulatable. Yeah. Incredibly manipulable.
Yeah, no, that's good analysis.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain?
So here's a story from Fox 6 Milwaukee. 2/3 of Americans say government should ensure health care for all.
Wow, that's a big number. Bigger than I would have thought. And also on Fox News, so it's probably not as large as it could be. They probably figured out a way to
shrink it down.
Yeah, to shrink it a little bit. So
just ignore the black ones.
What is so, you know, we're at the cusp here. There's two other stories that sort of dovetail with this. One I posted yesterday when we posted the notes. This is House GOP will not allow amendment to vote to extend Obamacare subsidies. And then there was yesterday afternoon, a couple Republicans come across and they do this thing where they have a force a vote on this subsidy because they can bypass the leader if they get enough people to just say, well, you don't have to bring it. We'll just do it without you.
Right.
Because that's how the House runs. It probably won't do anything in the Senate, but at least they'll be able to have a vote on it because they recognize that this cliff that everybody just ran off of is real dangerous for a lot of Americans.
So here's where I'm confused. And that's because the timeline of events is fucking confusing. And I understand that we're recording this Thursday. So when our listeners hear this on Monday, probably there won't even be in America anymore, right?
Sure.
So let's just throw that out there that we're having a conversation that in 3 days will almost seem quaint, probably, right? It's like, this is a fucking, every conversation you have about politics in 2025 is Amish, right? It takes place in a past long gone.
Yeah.
But like, I understood that like there was this discharge vote, and the discharge vote says basically what you said, like they're going to, hey, we're just going to bypass the Speaker of the House. And then I thought the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said, I'm going to send everybody home on vacation. And we're just not going to come to the House anymore in order for the vote to not even be able to take place.
Yeah, they can't do it right away.
Yeah, they can't do it till like January when the things will already, the subsidies already expired.
Already expired this week. So it's
I thought they expired on the 31st.
No, because open enrollment was last week.
Oh, yeah.
So the problem is that if open enrollment happens, then open enrollment means you can't just fucking pick something up next year. You got to enroll in it. Well, if you enroll in it, you get a chance to see all those fees. You get to know what's going to happen.
Right.
Those things expire, but they got to tell you that they're expiring.
Right.
So it's not like I enroll and they're like, oh, it'll be $25 a month. And then they're like, but next month it's going to be $1,025 a month.
Right.
So they have to tell you. So that's why people are seeing it. And that's why there's this push to actually do it, because suddenly they're getting calls from people who are saying, you know, that this is going to really financially ruin them. One of the things I heard was, much of the subsidy goes to people who don't have any money. They don't have anything. They have very little money. They're in the poverty line. They get almost all of their health care subsidized. But during the pandemic, the Democrats were like, hey, man, we're just going to pay for it all. We're not going to have you have to pay a part of it. We'll just pay for it all because it's not a lot of money. And often it's difficult for people that are on the lowest end of the spectrum to have things like checking accounts or, you know, things like that, where these are fucking cash only, like
people.
I know what it was like to be poor. Right. And I know there was I was a cash only guy for a lot of my life, and my parents were cash only guys for a lot of their life. So I know what it's like to live like that. So that's not an unusual thing.
Right. Yeah.
And so but essentially what happened was they said, we'll just pay for it. Well, a bunch of people, Republicans are like, well, it's only $50 a month. So what's the big deal? We'll just make them pay for it again. But the thing is that this is for people who are making like $20,000 a year.
Right.
That's $600 a year. Suddenly you're taking away how much of their pay. It doesn't sound like a lot to you. $50 a month doesn't sound like to somebody who's making more money. Right. But if you're not making that much money, that's a fucking lot of goddamn money. And then I also have to go through all the trouble of doing it. And one of the things it doesn't account for is that suddenly there's like all these other co-pays and things that you still have to pay for, right? There's all these other co-pays. And those things go up in price because the coverage that we're offering is less money. So there's more things that go up in price, not just the premium. There's other things that the subsidies handle that money got to get paid out. So there's all these people that are on the cusp of really devastating, bills that are coming in. And the people that are getting hurt the worst are the people who are like own their own business and they're entrepreneurs and they're trying to make do.
Yeah.
And they can't. And they're making more money than an average person, but they don't have the benefits that like a lot of regular companies offer that can, because they have big groups of people that they can offset the costs of those big health insurance plans. So they're running on nothing. They have no staff. They have just them or maybe them and one other person. They can't afford that kind of thing. And they wouldn't get a good rate anyway if they could. Right. And the government was subsidizing part of that. And now they're paying some of those people are paying like $1,500 extra a month they're going to have to pay. Yeah. A month, man.
And remember, like this, especially for our listeners that aren't in the US, that isn't getting them full coverage. That's just buying them insurance coverage. So to Cecil's previous point, just to like explicate this in a way that like will make it sound even more insane, but is true and has to be said, that enormous premium that these folks are forced to pay, that gives them access to insurance. The insurance still doesn't cover 100% of your bills. Insurance typically, these are just plans you buy like any other plan. It's not like it's a super special ultra plan that pays everything. These are just plans. So that means that you're going to have co-pays, you're going to have deductibles, and you're going to have out-of-pocket expenses, and you're going to have caps on all of those things. So Typically what that means is like you go to a doctor and you do like a well visit. Well visits are often covered. Most plans will cover those at 100%. But if you go to the doctor because you're sick and you go to like the emergency room or the urgent care or your physician, those all have 3 different tiers of pricing on almost every kind of plan. The emergency room being the most expensive, urgent care being less, and then your doctor being less and urgent care oftentimes being less, but some plans are structured differently. The point being, you pay your premium, then you still pay more money.
Yeah.
You still are paying for your actual usage to a certain point.
Yeah.
You usually have to meet your deductible before your plan kicks in, and then your plan pays a certain percentage until you reach a certain out-of-pocket maximum, and then it resets every year. Every year, all those numbers reset. So if your out-of-pocket max is, let's say, $5,000, and that would not be a crazy out-of-pocket max with many plans now, that means that you're allowed to spend into the system or required to spend into the system $5,000, and then on December 31st at fucking midnight, the whole thing resets. And January 1st, you're back to spending money. It's a terrible system
It's a shitty,
to start with.
Terrible system.
It's incredibly backbreakingly expensive. What this will do, in effect, is it will force the sickest people to do whatever they can to maintain coverage, and healthy people will pull out of the system if it's this expensive, if subsidies don't exist. So healthy and young people and people who feel like they can take on that risk themselves or are willing to take on that risk, they'll pull themselves out of the pool. When they do that, that means only the sickest people remain. The insurance companies then don't get the premiums because remember that like insurance as a scheme to pay for things only works if we pool the risk of the less risky in order to pay for the cost of the more risky, right? So if the only people that are maintaining coverage are the people who realize I die without this coverage, I have to sacrifice other things to make this bill, and then the healthy people or healthier people pull themselves out of the market, that actually makes it more expensive for everybody. So premiums will just continue to go up and up and up. If you're going to use insurance as the scheme to pay for something like healthcare, one of the key elements that Obamacare understood, and it got shot down, and it was really the most important piece of Obama. They basically said at the beginning, everybody's got to get coverage. You are going to be required to have coverage because one of the understandings was that you have to pool risk. That got wiped out. Now it's optional.
Yeah.
So if it's optional and it's expensive, then you're forcing only the sickest to maintain coverage in the system.
Prices increase because there's not as many people that are feeding into the system. It's just that's just how it works. That's why universal health care works better than our system does. And just think if you're somebody who's paying $50 a month because you can't scrape 2 pennies together, right? You're at the very lowest end. They just increased your premium to now where you're paying $50 a month to get health coverage, right? And it's Medicare coverage. It's not great, right? It's not great. You go in and now you got to pay like a copay and then copay for your pills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Think of what a copay is for $10.
Yeah.
Think of a $10 copay if I'm already paying $50 a month and it's all I could do to get that $50.
Yeah. And now you're
where I got to get the 10. Where do I got to get the $3 and $6 for the pills I got to take?
Yeah.
Why are we treating people that are on that have nothing as if there's some sort of entitlement there? These Republicans will say shit like, well, it's not fair that other people have to pay for it and they don't. It's like, it's not fair that they have to live like that we have a capitalist society that keeps them down and pushes them down. And there's no upward mobility in our country for vast swaths of the country. There's no upward mobility. People are not living better than their parents lived. It's just not happening.
Right.
So this idea that's like, oh, well, they should, it's like they've been sold a lie, an American dream lie by these people. And now they're expected to eat it. After they take away like the tiniest bit of help that they had, they pull it away from them. These are bad people. These are genuinely bad people. Yeah. They don't care about anybody except for the fucking billionaire that they're jerking off.
And like, it's exactly true. The other thing I think, even if you are only a self-interested party, so even if your thoughts really on how your decision-making only ever center around yourself, if you're getting your health care through your employer, understand that by taking 24 million people potentially out of the system, your private health insurance will go up because there's no, people seem to forget, like Obamacare is not a special kind of insurance that the government offers.
Yeah.
It's not offered by the government. This is Aetna. This is United. This is Blue Cross Blue Shield.
It's like a universal health care still.
Yeah, there's no universal health care.
They still think it, though.
I know.
Yeah.
So these are the same insurance companies that your private employer is buying their plan from. So if all of a sudden Aetna is making less money because they are getting less premiums from people who previously would have bought their plans from the exchange, from the Obamacare exchange, now they have less premiums coming in the door. How are they going to make their revenue? They're going to raise premiums on everybody in the pool. You're in the pool.
Yep.
You're in the same pool.
In the same pool.
Aetna's all one pool. It's one company.
Pool.
You think they're going to tell shareholders, hey, guys, the subsidies don't exist. We'll just make a little less money next year.
Yeah.
You think they're going to say that?
Fuck no.
They're going to raise your costs.
Yeah.
So your private employer-sponsored healthcare plan, if you're just self-interested, if the only person you care about is you, it's going up.
Yeah.
It's going up. I also just want to bring this up too, because it occurred to me that like people forget the world before Obamacare. They forget about what was the world like before Obamacare. And I'll tell a quick story that's personal. My dad owned a very, very small business. He had a franchised sign company where he was the owner and like he sometimes had one other employee. Sometimes it was my cousin, his niece. Sometimes it was somebody else, right? So the smallest company possible, right?
Sure.
He scraped by every month, basically just keeping the doors open. He was never particularly successful with that business. He ran it for 13 years. This was before Obamacare, which means that there was no pooling of risk. There was no exchange. So in order for him to get insurance for himself, the only insurance he could afford, and it was very expensive, was catastrophic only coverage. Pre-existing conditions automatically excluded an enormous number of people from buying insurance at any cost. Remember, that's something Obamacare got rid of, was the ability for insurance companies to deny you coverage based on pre-existing conditions. Prior to Obamacare, that was the standard operating procedure for insurance companies.
They weren't going to take you on because it wasn't worth their money.
You couldn't buy insurance at any cost.
Sure. Yeah.
At any cost. You also like can keep your kids on your insurance up until the age of 26 because there's a lot of other stuff that we all kind of take for granted. So my dad had insurance only for himself and it was catastrophic only coverage. Then he had a heart attack. And when he had that heart attack, they covered a portion, because catastrophic coverage is very expensive, but did not cover very much. It covered a portion of his hospital bills. It covered none of his rehabilitation after his heart attack. It covered very little of his care afterwards. He had to sell his business at a loss. He went out of business, sold his business at a loss, couldn't continue forward. I was never able to get insurance through my dad. So I had to work full time while I was in college in order to have health care.
Sure. Yeah.
The world was worse. My dad went out of business because of this. Like he sold his business, sold all of his equipment, everything at a loss. And he went back to driving a school bus. It put him, and he wasn't healthy enough to drive that bus. He had just had a major heart attack, but he went back to driving a school bus in order to just make ends meet.
Sure.
That was the world before Obamacare. These people like to talk about it in ways that like just kind of forget the world beforehand, because after his heart attack, he couldn't get insurance. He had to go work for a school where they couldn't deny him coverage because his coverage was through an employee-sponsored care.
Too big. Yeah.
Employee-sponsored plan.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll honor his name. We are Charlie Kirk. His courage our own. Together unbroken, we'll make heaven known.
Stories from Huffington Post. Even MAGA can't stomach Trump's vile Rob Reiner post, dude.
Do you want to read the whole thing? I got it up here. You can just read it.
Holy shit.
If you want. I'll put it on the big screen too.
This is his actual truth that he truthed out. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, and perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace.
So
this is a crazy person's screed.
It genuinely is. I think, one of the things that I think that struck me this week was, one, I don't care what you say about anybody who's dead. Like, that never bothered me, right?
Sure,
like,
right.
if he doesn't like Rob Reiner and he thinks he's an asshole because he didn't like him, who cares? Like, nobody should care, right? But here's the difference. If let's imagine that Matt Walsh wrote this. You wouldn't think anything of it. You'd be like, well, he's an asshole.
Right.
You're a dick. Whatever. Who cares? If Ben Shapiro wrote this, you'd be like, oh, that's really distasteful. But it's whatever it is.
Right.
It's very different when the president of the United States does this.
Yeah,
it's very, very different. And it's not even just I was quiet about it. It's I went out of my way to rub salt in the wound of this, right? This is the same group of people who were screaming at everybody else when anybody said anything about Charlie Kirk.
That's exactly right.
When anybody said anything about Charlie Kirk that was negative, that was like, man, that guy really was a piece of shit. Everybody went crazy. I will remind everybody that I didn't see a single politician, a big politician, making those statements. Maybe there was some small politicians, maybe there was some state politicians who made some
Nobody
some
in a position
comments.
of real power and
But I
authority.
will say, most of the politicians I saw that said anything about Charlie Kirk were like, our country can't live like this. This is bad for everybody. People shouldn't be murdered. So that's terrible. It's a terrible tragedy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There was a ton. I didn't see a single like, man, that guy sucked. Good.
Right.
Because that's what that says.
Yeah.
That's what that says.
Yep. Yeah. This says, first of all, this takes something that was not even remotely political and ascribes a political motive to the killing.
Yeah.
Then it says fucking good.
Yeah. And it makes it about Trump.
Right. This is also, I mean this. This is he seems genuinely actually crazy. This seems to suggest a loss of like actual connection with reality. Because this isn't good. Like this, he doesn't get anything good out of this. This just seems like his personal narcissism and paranoia. MAGA hates this, dude.
Even Tom Massey. Thomas Massey, man. This is who we called up. What does Thomas Massey say about it?
Regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid. I challenge anyone to defend it.
It's a great comment. I don't like him, but he's right about this.
I also, I know this is going to sound fucking Amishly quaint. And don't write me about how the Amish aren't quaint. I did a whole citation needed on it. You should listen to it. But like, this is going to sound Amishly quaint. Cecil, I cannot stand the lack of seriousness, the lack of civility.
That's the real problem.
The rudeness, the cruelty. Like, where's our, like, the leaders should exhibit some fucking like discipline, some fucking honor, some fucking respect.
Even some pretend compassion once in a while. Like there doesn't even exist.
Dude, set an example like you're in the Boy Scouts or something. Like, that's again the wrong example, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking be nice. Why can't you just be nice?
Well, and when they asked him a question, he referred to himself in the third person. Did you see the response?
No.
When they asked him a question about it, and he said, well, he didn't like Donald Trump. And he like talks about himself in the third person for a little bit. And he's like, they say, that he didn't like him and I didn't like him very much. And that was the end. They asked him like, why do you stand by that comment?
Yeah.
And then he's just like, well, a lot of people didn't like him or whatever. And he's like, nobody, you said it.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the press corps is so fucking cowardly that nobody will stand up and be like, you didn't answer that question.
Right, yeah.
You didn't answer that question. Answer that question. I don't have a question. I don't have another question. Nobody in this room has another question.
Until you answer the first question.
Answer the fucking question.
That's it, man. That's it.
These people just fucking roll over for this
constantly. And that, Cecil, that is exactly why they can do the flood the zone shit.
Yeah.
Right? So you're 100% right. Flood the zone works because we allow our attention to shift.
Yeah.
If something shitty happens on Monday and Tuesday I'm talking about Monday, and Wednesday I'm still talking about Monday, and Thursday I'm still talking about Monday. Every day I talk about Monday till we resolve Monday.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you did Tuesday. I'll get to that next fucking week when you figure out how to answer your goddamn Monday question. we got to be, it's why the Epstein thing is important. You've got to just be a bulldog with this shit. You've got to be.
I feel like there needs to be laws in place in the future that when the Democrats, if they hopefully take over,
Jesus Christ,
someone
please.
needs to put into effect laws that make it so that they cannot, they can't, that they are responsible to the press, that the press comes in and there can't be any picking and choosing, any of that stuff. And there also can't be like, I can just tell you to leave.
Right.
None of those things. That's not how this works. Like if you have like an actual, like you're approved to be here, not just fucking Joe from the podcast down the street. You got to actually be approved to be there. But there should be a process, a bipartisan process that approves them. And then once they're approved, and that's it. We don't get to do this because everybody there is afraid because they won't get any access anymore.
Right.
And then they're stuck.
Yeah, and the problem, and I kind of understand it from their perspective, right? Because if you're the AP and Trump is willing to say, oh, the AP can't come on Air Force One, the AP can't attend my press briefings, the AP can't, is not allowed to be a part of any of the stuff that we're doing. What you'll winnow things down to is just fucking one American news network or whatever. Sure. And then the only reporting is going to be entirely controlled. And so I kind of understand being like, look, some access is better than none. We can ask some questions, but like all of this is because we have an authoritarian strongman that Congress will not hold to account, that the judiciary will not hold to account. Yeah, I think in this article, I think it was in this article, if it's not, it's in another one. There was a comment that really made me mad where it suggested that even people on the right are starting to become exhausted by Trump and by this Trump shit. And I read that and my fucking blood boiled. It's like, you're not allowed to be exhausted.
Yeah, I know.
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
You don't get to be tired. You don't get to be exhausted. You don't get to have a fucking like, oh, why can't things just go back to normal? What happened to civil? You don't get any of that. Yeah. You don't get it forever. This is the world you built on purpose.
Yeah.
Everybody said this is what we were going to build. We built it. Nothing that's happening is a surprise.
Not a bit of it.
This is the least surprising
Not a bit of it.
anything.
Not a bit of it.
You don't get to look up and be like, well, I didn't think. Fuck you, you didn't think. He wrote it down.
Yeah.
They wrote it down.
Trump didn't write it down. Trump didn't even read it.
Yeah, right.
Right? But the people around him that control him, those people read it.
That's right.
And they're inflicting it on you right now.
Yep. So you don't get to be tired.
Yeah.
You don't get to complain. I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
You don't ever get to, you don't get to utter I don't care if you have a fucking migraine. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man.
Shut up and go to fucking work.
Yeah, man.
You're absolutely stunning. You look like shit, but I'm absolutely stunned.
CBS News, Epstein survivors and Senate Democrats ask for audit to determine if Epstein files have been tampered with.
What's good? I mean, I hope that there is some sort of audit, man. I am just excited that one day there will be a DOJ that maybe says everything goes out.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that moment where they're just like, yep, everything goes out. Because did you see the Vanity Fair thing that came out this week?
No.
So evidently Vanity Fair did a whole article on Trump's cabinet. And his chief of staff had basically said, yeah, he's in there, but they were two playboys and that was just playboy stuff back then because they were just playboys, right? These people have they're the worst when it comes to talking to the media. And the best part is look up Vanity Fair's photos of their, the photos that they took. Because Tom, I'm going to put them up.
Okay, I can't wait to see this.
Let me call up, because I know Allison Gill posted them on our Facebook page. So let me call them up real quick. So here's the pictures. I'm going to put them up on the big screen. So it's important to recognize that they put these pictures in the Vanity Fair article. So one, they put a side-by-side of this picture and Mussolini and their exact same lighting.
Oh my God.
So the photographer lit it and colorized it exactly like the photo of Mussolini.
Awesome.
Here's the next one. This is his chief of staff.
Oh my God. It's
and
fucking
they took
great.
a really close-up picture of her and they put it in there. Here's JD Vance.
It's such a zoom in. God, it's zoomed in so far, everybody would look fucking nuts.
Now, this is my favorite.
Oh God.
This is Carolyn Levitt. Look at the lip injection sites where she gets filler on her lips.
That's fucking great. Because she's so fucking fake. It's perfect.
They zoomed in on them really badly.
Yeah.
And they did they did this zoom in thing so that they could so that they could fucking like essentially mock him. And it's what's so crazy is these people agree to this. They know, like, do you not know that Vanity Fair is gonna they're gonna punk the shit out of you? Did you not know that beforehand? But they don't care.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Marco Rubio. The Marco Rubio picture is on our Facebook page. I might be on maybe it's on our Facebook page. I'll look. Is him just standing there weirdly. Right? So this is Marco Rubio's picture. I'm going to put it on the big screen. This looks like the end of the Blair Witch.
It does.
Like where the guy's just standing there. It's just
he looks like a powered down human robot in his corner.
What the fuck is happening?
So
right?
great.
Gee, but the thing is that these people, they think they're going to get some sort of, they're smarter than these reporters or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, and then they also they're also not super smart. So they just say stuff that is really, really bad. Right. So they will just let their plans out, or they'll say something like this lady said about Trump, where it's just, oh yeah, they were just playboys together. Sure. He's in the list, but it's not a big deal. And you're like, no, it is a big deal. It's a huge fucking deal that he and Epstein were close, because we know that some of the other people that he was close with were drawing fucking weird pictures for his birthday book.
Yeah, man. And like Trump supposedly drew a fucking, barely post-pubescent photo of a naked person and wrote about the secrets we share. Yeah. And what a weird thing to admit to, that they were playboys together. Like, what is a playboy? A playboy is somebody who is sexually about town, right? Like a Playboy, there's a reason the Playboy magazine is called Playboy magazine.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It refers specifically to a sort of promiscuous sexuality. So what a strange thing to be like, oh, that sex offender, don't worry, they're just into sex stuff together.
They were just into sex stuff, but like normal sex stuff.
Like perfectly legal-ish.
Perfectly legal. By the second, sex stuff. Yeah.
Hey, I know he said he'd fuck his own daughter. I know that. And I know he said that he likes to go into the Miss Universe changing room. And, I know he's had like 3 wives and cheated on all of them. And I know that there was a scandal with a porn star that looks a lot like his daughter. And I know but it's all smoke and mirrors, guys. I know that we can name a whole bunch of facts, but none of those are the alternative ones we prefer. But who's got some big red gum? I need to swallow a wad of it.
In any case, I think it's my hope that not only these things get audited afterwards. I would love to see if they're hiding stuff too.
Yeah,
that would be amazing to see that they're genuinely hiding shit.
And if the Republicans refuse to allow the audit, that only can look bad.
Yeah.
What I love about this is anybody with any sense recognizes that this is not complicated and they could just do this right now.
Yeah.
So all of this stalling, all of this obfuscation, all of this road blocking, it can't look good for your side.
Yeah.
Because you could just do this right now. And every day you don't do it. What fucking time is it? It's fucking 11:43 in the morning on Thursday. They could have this done by noon.
Yeah.
So by 1 o'clock, if it's not done, you're not done on purpose.
Yeah.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
This story's from the New Republic. Fed chair warns Trump administration may be seriously exaggerating jobs numbers.
No shit.
What?
No shit. After they didn't release some at a certain point this year, there was a couple of times they didn't release certain economic documents. These people have been fucking with this books the entire time because everybody is so afraid to walk in that room and to tell him that he's not doing as good as he thought he was.
Yeah, man. They fired. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics is the department that is charged with putting these numbers together. And they put out bad job numbers because the numbers were bad and that's their job.
Yeah.
And the guy got fired for it. He was like, hey, here's the math. And Trump was like, I don't like your math. You don't work here anymore. Then when the government shut down, they weren't able to release any jobs report at all for October. Now, Jerome Powell is saying, hey, these numbers appear to be inflated by as much as 60,000. Well, if you take 60,000 on the positive off the numbers, the new report would actually show job loss rather than the modest job growth that it shows. Well, there's a big difference. And if you are the Fed If you are the Fed, your job, you have a dual mandate. Your job is maximum employment, minimum inflation, or not minimum inflation, but like an inflation that is sensible. You can't have minimum or zero inflation, but like that's their dual mandate, is to manage inflation and to manage job growth. You can't do that job without good numbers. You only have essentially one major lever to pull, and that's interest rates. And they need to know what the job market is doing in order to pull the lever in the right fucking direction. Up matters a lot different than down. So it's a huge deal,
Yeah,
Cecil.
man. It's fucking huge.
This isn't just
dude.
egg on your face as an administration.
It's fucking huge, dude. And it's what it shows me is that like no one is willing to tell the emperor he's not wearing any clothes.
Yup.
And this is a big deal. This could literally crush our entire country. It could, yeah. This could spin us out of control and completely collapse our economy.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't. I'm not being
it's not an
hyperbolic.
exaggeration.
I'm
That's
not being
an
hyperbolic.
exaggeration. Yeah.
There can be things that happen in our country with credit ratings, with the ability of other countries to invest in this country that could go away, and those things could really genuinely hurt our economy in an unrecoverable way.
Yeah. Yeah. We could lose generational growth.
Yeah.
Papers, please.
Papers. Of course. Run.
Yes.
Papers. Got it here. Just finished reading it myself. Run.
Yes.
Here. Egyptian Mail. Morning edition. Run.
Did you say...
From Common Dreams, a chilling assertion. Trump officials falsely claim citizens must carry immigration documents to prove their status. There is no legal requirement that U.S. citizens carry papers or have proof of their citizenship on them, said an attorney at the ACLU of Northern California. Tell that to ICE.
Man, they are asking people and they're producing identification and they're still taking them in.
Yep.
So here's the thing. The papers don't matter. They don't even matter if you have them. They don't care.
They don't care.
They
Yeah.
want to these people are trying to catch a quota. They don't give a fuck about you. These are awful, shitty people that have been vetted through their system to be awful and shitty to a group of people that this government thinks as lesser. And they don't have a lot of power and they don't have any real lobbyists. So guess what? They're going to get stepped on. And this group of people is going to they're going to jackboot their way through this entire community. They're going to snatch whoever the fuck they want, citizen or no.
Yep.
And they're going to take them and they're going to put them wherever the fuck they want for as long as they want. And there will be no repercussions. And it will not matter if they're a citizen or not. They might eventually fix it. They might not. It doesn't fucking matter to them at all. And they self-selected a group of people who literally just want to make money and don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. This is a terrifying moment where our administration's decision-making that due process is not something we have to afford to people in the immigration process and in the deportation process. If you combine their decision to not respect the rules of due process with a new demand that you have to show your immigration papers. So this is actually kind of a weird and I think important directionality distinction. So if you are a citizen, you are not required to own any proof of your citizenship. You don't have to own it, much less carry it. If you are a legal immigrant, you are required to carry proof of your citizenship if you are a legal immigrant. There's a big difference. Because if you stop somebody who is a citizen and you say, hey, show me your papers, you might not have any papers. There might not be a papers that you have. How would you then distinguish outside of a strict due process whether somebody was an immigrant, somebody was here undocumented, or a citizen? You would not have any way to differentiate those things. You can't prove a negative. They're asking people to prove a negative on purpose because it's essentially impossible.
Exactly.
This gives them all the auspices they need with the recent Supreme Court decision that says you can racially profile to stop anybody that's brown or that's any of the distinctions they want, and to detain them, deport them, move them to offshore prison camps in countries that these people have never potentially even been affiliated with in any way. You can just get rid of people you don't like. This is actually I think this is a backdoor, but not even backdoor. This is a way to disappear anybody that's a political dissident as well. What's to say that I don't get, like, if I got pulled over tomorrow and they said, show me proof that you are an American citizen, I don't have anything. Your driver's license doesn't prove that.
No.
So if I don't have my passport, maybe, my birth certificate, I don't even know what I would carry with me. I don't know what to do. Yeah. And if they don't respect those documents anyway, and there's no due process for me to engage, they can just take anyone that's noisy and get rid of them.
Any person they want.
Anyone they want.
That's literally the point.
They can send them to a prison in El Salvador, man.
That's literally the point.
It's fucking horrible. So yeah, I guess if there's no cognitive dissonance anymore, like fucking send me care packages in El Salvador.
Well, and genuinely, I hope the people who are responsible for this have to pay for something in the future.
I know, man.
I hope that there is genuinely some sort of comeuppance for the people who put these policies in place. I think the people who put these, maybe you can't do anything to the president. Maybe, but the shit has to roll all the way downhill to the ICE agents.
Absolutely.
You can't pardon everybody.
Yep.
There's going to be somebody who's wide open, and that person's got to eat all the shit.
100%.
All the shit.
Yep. 100%, Cecil.
On top of everything, I'm a dog killer.
From the New Republic, Noem gets most awkward fact check of her life on deported veterans.
Did you see this?
I did, yeah.
This is pretty great. We're going to put this on the big screen. There we go. So we're going to watch this. This is just Kristi Noem in front of Congress, and she's being asked questions about immigration.
Harry, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD. Many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you.
She gets owned this entire time. There's 5 minutes of this. So there's 5 straight minutes of her just basically getting called out every time she's like, no, we never did that. And then someone will be like, behind you is the person. It's amazing. But like listen to how she talks about that person, right? Here's a person who fought in a war for the United States, a really shitty, stupid war that probably shouldn't have been in. Right? Maybe shouldn't be taking bullets in Panama of all places. But this person was sent somewhere, probably by a Reagan administration, right? So they were sent somewhere. They got injured. They had PTSD. They had a terrible time. As he says, they had some drug convictions or whatever, but other than that, they're clean. They've been clean for a long time. She deported that person to some place they hadn't been since they were 7 years old. Yeah, they're already you can't be in the military at that age unless you're in your 20s, right? Yeah. Almost in your 20s. This is somebody who's like 60 plus years old.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand at all how anybody that serves in the military is not granted citizenship
immediately.
I don't understand that at all.
Why do we not do that?
How the fuck are you going to ask somebody to die for a country you won't let them live in? What the fuck? What are even those words?
I remember, Tom, God, it has to be, almost 20 years ago when I started working at the college I was working at. I remember talking to people about it, and there was a big push then for DACA.
Yeah.
And what they had was this group of people who were college students whose parents had them here essentially, and or they came here very young.
Right.
And these are people who don't actually have citizenship, but they went to college. Why wouldn't you scoop these people up as American citizens?
I know.
The same thing goes for the people who served in the military. Why wouldn't you scoop them up? These are people who are willing to sacrifice a lot for your country. That's a military career is not a fucking amazing career, man.
I know.
That's you're basically trading your body for a long time in hopes of a very small pension. It's not great, right? It's not great, but it's sold to a lot of people who are lower income as a way to get from, desperate poverty to moderate poverty.
Yeah,
right. That's what it's sold as.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take them up on it. And the thing is we don't treat those people good anyway. But the idea that you would be well, you're not only not going to treat you good, and we're not going to pay you well, and you're going to we're going to use your body, essentially use your body up like a fucking tissue for the next 20 years. We're also not going to fucking stand by any of the things that we stood by that have you as part of our military, to be we got your back.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. You've had ours.
Yeah. We got yours.
It is an unconscionable reality that every person, we should have a French Foreign Legion type system.
Exactly.
If you are good enough to take a bullet for this country and to carry a weapon for this country and to put your body on the line and do your fucking push-ups for me and everything, if you're good enough for that, then cool, man, welcome. As soon as you are honorably discharged, you are automatically granted citizenship.
Yep.
No questions.
Yeah.
No questions. That's it. I actually, until not that many years ago, I didn't even know that you could join the military if you weren't a citizen. I had no idea that was a thing. I kind of don't really understand how we vet you to say you are not a citizen. You must be some kind of legal resident. You're allowed to join the military, but then you're not automatically. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. To not let them be a citizen afterwards, it's just a crime. It's literally a crime. And the thing is Congress cannot get enough people on one side to say that's a true thing.
How insane is this?
And people have been pushing for this for decades.
It should be the easiest question. I think this this kind of issue, kind of like what we let off the show with, right? 2/3 of Americans are hey, the government should hook us up with some health care in some way. We'll figure out the how, but the government should be involved. I think if you were to go on the street and just ask 100 random people, hey, what do you think about automatic citizenship for veterans? I think 96 of them out of 100 would be we don't already have that?
Yeah, they would be shocked.
Right?
They'd be shocked.
This is really a great point to say. Our political system does not align with the values of the people who live here.
Yeah.
Our political system is controlled entirely by a minority subset of weirdos and industry groups and others that don't reflect the values and the desires and the needs of the American people.
And obscenely rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said weirdos.
Yeah.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
From the New Republic, FBI leader crumbles during basic questions about threat of Antifa.
I don't know if he crumbles, but I do like this line of questioning, so I'm going to play it here for everybody.
Executive Order Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States? as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the #1 domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove, I know. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
Fucking Benny Thompson is a fucking mic dropping motherfucker.
Here's the thing, right? I understand that they, like he suggests, that can be fluid, right?
Sure.
But you should have an estimate. If you say Antifa is the biggest threat, and I say, well, okay, how many members? You should say, well, there's between 12 and 17,000 members that we've identified.
Yeah.
You should say, well, they're mostly in the Northwest, but they also have cells in different places. You would know those things if they were a real thing, right?
Absolutely.
If it was a real thing that people were really... I'll remind people that like when Black Lives Matter was starting to become they started to be an organization, right? There was like an organization called Black Lives Matter. First, it started out as a slogan, and then people were like, hey, let's create an organization called Black Lives Matter. Everybody knew every single thing about those people that were running it.
Right.
Those people that were running it, there was all kinds of smear pieces about every single person that was running that organization within minutes of the moment that they incorporated, right? There was smear pieces in the New York Post and other places about how bad they were.
Yep.
After the fact, after there was donations given, there was smear pieces about how they were using the money. There was all this stuff. Everybody knew everything about them.
That's
right. Who's the member of Antifa? Who are these people? This week I saw one of these skit. It wasn't a skit. It was like a real, and not a prank either. I don't know what it is. Guerrilla journalism. I don't know what to call it. Two vets walk into FBI headquarters, and they have a cameraman behind him. And they said, one of them says, yeah, I'm the regional manager of Antifa or something. And the other one said the same thing. He's like, I'm turning myself into the FBI. Will you arrest me? So they like went in, and they said, I'm like one of the regional, I don't know what the words they used, but it was really funny. Like they're funny. Yeah. They had a funny name for it, right? With like a regional commander or something like that. It was a really funny name.
Right.
And they both said, he's like, I'm in the Maryland region or whatever it was. And so like these two guys go in to say, arrest me for this. You say it's a terrorist organization. If I say I am part of Antifa, that would make me someone who you would want to arrest, or at least talk to. They don't do anything like that. And
what do they do?
And the reason why they do that is because they want to be able to do it to whoever they want.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they want to scare the rest of America. Dude, listen to Joe Rogan talk about Antifa. He seriously thinks it's a real organization that is actually funded, that is real and exists, and they do things. I mean, he really believes this, right? This is a guy who talks to 20 million people on the daily.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying, man. Like I think you're exactly right. Like if you don't define it, then it's whoever you don't like.
Exactly.
And if you have labeled these folks as terrorists, we talked about this before, and you've said we can use our military against our terrorists, and we can use the military against domestic terrorists. What you've done is you've established a legal framework to use our military against anyone.
Yes, exactly.
Extrajudicially.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you're talking about a famous beach located in Sydney, Australia, it's going to be said as Bondi, but this is also a surname generally, and it can be said Bondi, but also sometimes Bondi, like Pam Bondi, for example. Bondi or Bondi, it depends, but the beach, Bondi. And now you know. More videos for you to learn more. Thanks for watching.
NPR, accused gunman in Bondi Beach shooting, charged with 15 counts of murder. This is a fucking nightmare.
This is a crazy story. So Bondi Beach, of course, in Australia. The problem is that Australia hasn't had a gun murder like this in a long time, very specifically because they have strict gun laws. And after Port Arthur, which was another mass shooting, they basically cut out a lot of guns and the ability to get guns to a lot of people. There was two different shooters. They had a shotgun and like a repeater rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And the the guns were not big. They weren't like, they were like rifle guns, like what, like big, like, you know, we're talking about like long guns. These are long guns that they have. I couldn't imagine the kind of damage they could do with pistols, right? I couldn't imagine
or
the
an
kind
assault
of, or
rifle.
an assault rifle. So it's lucky there. Also, one of them was disarmed by just some random guy.
Fucking guy got shot twice.
And that dude
in the process of
that dude fucking took that gun away, took that shit from that guy, fucking made that guy basically just stand in the corner. And he eventually died. The guy who took the gun from, I think, eventually died, or the other one. I'm not sure. One of them died. One of them was shot. But these guys came in, and this was clearly a motivated attack against Jews.
Yeah.
And this is something that years ago when we started the podcast, we were saying it, and it's something that I think echoes through today, is that religious extremism is an absolute cancer. And it doesn't matter who the religious extremist is. The religious extremism is always a big enough motivator to cause so much damage in the world that we should really genuinely start to move away from religious extremism whenever we can, because it's a fucking cancer, and it ruins every society it touches.
Yeah, there is the shooters are a father and son. They found homemade ISIS flags in the car. They had recently returned from a trip to a part of the Philippines that is known for its connections with Muslim extremism. So I just was listening to like a couple of longer podcasts this morning about this shooting. And I want to say, I know I mispronounced it. Bondi Beach. I mispronounced it, not Bondi.
Yeah.
Bondi. I mispronounced it, so I'm sorry. But like for a long time, ISIS, and like people think of ISIS as having been defeated because the territorial caliphate has been largely defeated. But ISIS as an ideology has never been defeated.
It still exists.
They actually initially, I was listening to a story, it was interesting. Like initially their focus was really on Muslim apostates. So the majority of the violence that ISIS was committing was against other Muslims that they considered apostates. What I think has happened in this shooting, I think shows it, is that once their sort of territorial caliphate fell apart, and the world has sort of changed and anti-Semitism is on the rise, this has given ISIS a new focus. And the hatred there between Muslim extremists and Jewish people is probably going to continue to rise. This isn't the first, second, or third instance.
Yeah, sure.
Recently.
Yeah.
But this back in 2014, when the caliphate was at its height, there was not the same kind of focus on Jews as a target from ISIS.
Yeah.
So they've shifted their focus there, and I think that that's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
This also, I think, dovetails in a way with a worldwide increase in anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism across the world is on the rise. In America, anti-Semitism numbers, and this is not anti-Israel numbers, this is specifically anti-Jewish people. Polls have shown that those numbers have increased dramatically.
Sure, yeah.
And specifically among young people.
Yeah.
I don't think this violence I think this is the tip of a deeply cancerous iceberg, man.
Yeah.
And I will say, though, that one thing I want to point out is that Australia essentially immediately responded with, I guess we're going to have to tighten up our gun laws.
Yeah.
They weren't like, shit happens.
Yeah, they weren't like, well, this is
thoughts and prayers.
These are the eggs you have to break in order to keep a free country. They're
right.
Like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good on them, right?
Yeah, 100%.
There's a bunch of people that immediately started to talk shit about like, shitty American Second Amendment people online were talking shit about how if there was people with guns, it would have stopped. And a bunch of people had to remind them that the guy was stopped literally by an unarmed civilian.
Right. Yeah.
So this whole idea that somehow another gun in that situation would have been a good thing it's just such a fucking Charlie Bronson fantasy.
I know, man.
It happened maybe one time in the past or something. It's such a Charlie Bronson fantasy that all these people have, that they're going to be in the right place at the right time with their pistol and not piss themselves.
Yep. Yeah. And most of these people lacking any real training, lacking any combat experience, lacking any psychological preparation for the realities of armed conflict, lacking all of that. They're going to be the fucking tough guy.
Yeah.
That their hands won't be shaking so badly that they'll be unable to fucking level the weapon effectively against the target. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but genuinely a fucking major tragedy for a country that doesn't have this happen very often, right? For us, we'd be like, yeah, that's Wednesday.
I know. Well,
because Brown University happened the same day. Tom, Brown University, there was a shooter, right? Shooter at Brown University. I wake up in the morning because I was curious. I was like, I was on my phone. I went to the New York Times and I typed in shooting to see if the Brown University, if they had any new leads on it.
Yeah.
And this comes up because I was looking for a different mass shooting.
Right. Dude, how fucking depressing is that?
And then I got this one and I was like, well, when the fuck did this happen?
Yeah. Dude, I listened to a story. 2 of the people who were in the Brown shooting had been in other school shootings. One of the women that I heard in an interview, she'd been shot twice, once in the stomach and once in the hand at a school shooting. She lived through that experience only to go to fucking Brown and have another fucking mass shooting happen.
Yeah.
The commonplace. There was also a reaction. I don't know if you saw this. Haley showed me this. There was like a lot of mockery of the reactions of the Australians by Americans who were like, fucking didn't happen to you. Why are you so upset? A lot of Americans are so immune to this kind of violence. We've accepted this violence as a social reality and an emotional reality. So
we treat it almost less than car accidents.
Yeah, we treat it absolutely less than car accidents. And I don't understand that. So when Australians were posting like about their being heartbroken about this terrible tragedy, which is how we should all feel when this shit happens, they were getting mocked. Like, you live on the other side of the country. Why do you even care? And it's like, well, because this doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
Because we've mostly fixed this problem.
Because we thought about this and you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we thought we had it fixed and we didn't.
So
and
I don't need an emotional immunity to tragedy.
That's so gross anyway.
It's fucking disgusting.
God, that's disgusting. If anybody like that on your feed, get rid of them.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Fuck that.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. For our patrons, we're going to have a Christmas show. But we'll see everybody else Monday. We're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter mommy